All right, thank you so much for joining me in this specific lecture. And I must tell you that I know that you have already attended 2 lectures by now, and maybe you will be feeling that something is getting very over. But believe me, this topic is this lecture is going to be very interesting and very informative. The only reason being, number of times the questions have been asked from this specific topic, and this is very easy to understand as well and conceptual as well, because all the conceptual things are not boring thing, but only the theoretical things who do not revolve around any kind of a concepts, these are very boring thing. That I genuinely believe. I know that number of people you would be thinking that that only going through theory is very difficult. This lecture is going to be very conceptual. Okay, in this lecture I am going to teach you regarding how the appraisal is done. We have already understood about a number of concepts regarding human resources management. I have taught you regarding how and why the people are recruited in the organization, how the selection is done, what is the process of selection, what are the techniques of a good test, what is validity, what is reliability, what are different types of interviews, how these are accessed, what is the difference between development and training, what are the training methods. We have done a lot of data regarding human resources management in these previous days, in just 3 or 4 days, I think. And this is the final aspect regarding individual human resources, how to be managed. And this aspect is going to be related to their appraisal or their evaluation. You have done something. Now you are going to be evaluated by someone. You are my student. You on daily basis you see my videos. I deliver you the data. I deliver you PDF notes, and I deliver you live lectures, then recorded lectures as well, and explanation videos, and number of things as well. And after specific days, if I evaluate how and where do you stand, do you have the required knowledge now to qualify the examination or not, if I am doing that kind of assessment, that shall be known to be your evaluation. Okay, but in context of a human resources management, the meaning of evaluation and appraisals are different. So these things we have to understand and go through. When an employee is employed in any organization, so whatever the contribution he has done for the organization for making its whole assessment is known as employee performance evaluation or performance appraisal. So this thing we have to understand, and most important part of these are methods of performance appraisal. Number of times the questions have been asked from this specific topic, and I believe that this is very interesting and you would be enjoying literally. So just before sharing the screen, one or two announcement as usual. They are like, in case you face any trouble, just leave. We shall give you recording. Secondly, just need your confirmation. Should I start my lecture? Should I share my screen right now? Can I share it? Are you able to listen me? Listen me and clearly see me? Just need confirmations from you so that I start my lecture. All right, thank you so much. You've got the confirmation. Just showing you the screen and going to teach you the most important and very beautiful lecture or topic. This is going to be regarding performance appraisal. Definition I have already given you. I don't believe that I should repeat all these things again. In the organizational context, when you evaluate the performance of your employee, this is known as performance appraisal. So this is done only to know that whether he has done positive for the company or negative for the company, whether he has contributed to the overall productivity of the company or not. So just knowing that the evaluation of employee is done, and moreover, just for the sake of giving him rewards or punishments as well, this is done. So performance appraisal we have to study in the context of overall organization. Okay, we have to study this in the context of overall organization. So when we study this in context of organization, then we have to evaluate whether the performance of an employee was up to mark or not from the productivity or growth point of view. So this is all about performance appraisal. So only one slide I have included for this definition, because I believe that you people know and you can also go through, and merely reading the slides should not be my part. My purpose should be to teach you concepts and subject matters only. So what is performance appraisal? Performance appraisal is a systematic, periodic, impartial rating of an employee's excellence in matters pertaining to his present job and his potential for a better job. So just when you rate your employee's excellence, that whether he can do well in the next job or not, whether you can promote him in the coming days or not, just rate the performance or your employee's excellence is known as performance appraisal. Okay, so this is all about performance appraisal. We have to understand there have been number of authors who have explained the performance appraisal from their own point of views, but I think in this video lecture, merely adding one definition would be much more sufficient. They are not going to ask you which definition was asked by which author, but you can go through by one or two readings. Everything shall be delivered to you via PDF notes. So that was regarding performance appraisal, and most importantly, two questions are going to be answered in this specific lecture. The first are how you can appraise the performance of your employee. This is ways to performance appraisal or methods of performance appraisal. They shall answer you how you can appraise performance of someone, how you can evaluate whether someone was good or not. If I am going to evaluate you, I am your teacher, you are using all the systems given by me. If I want to evaluate your performance, what method I shall adopt? This is the example taken from our side, but we have to understand this subject from the point of view of an organization. Here the organization has to evaluate the performance of its employee. And who does evaluate? Either organization evaluate or the HRM manager evaluates the performance of an employee. And I am going to teach you right now what are the different methods by adopting of which the evaluation of performance of employee can be done. And finally, the last question we shall be going through, this is 360-degree performance appraisal. Most important concept, number of times question has been asked from this as well. So just showing you the techniques of performance appraisals, and these have been defined in different broad heads as usually each and everything, like I have given you information regarding training, development, tests, each and everything, and they were classified in broad heads. In the similar way, techniques of performance appraisals are also defined in broad heads. The first head is techniques under trait methods. When you consider traits are habits. When you consider the traits or habits of employee, on the basis of the traits of employees, you just appraise their performance. And what are the ways? I am going to show you right now one by one. I shall teach you each and every method of appraising. The first under trait method is graphic rating scale. Here, what is done? The appraiser or manager, the human resources manager, what does he do? He just, first of all, this is also known as a linear rating or simple rating scale. Okay. So what happens? The manager is given printed forms. He is given printed forms, each for one employee. Like there is HRM manager and there are 5 employees, employee A, B, C, D, E. And the manager is given form for each employees. Okay. And he know all about the employee. It is assumed that the manager or the immediate supervisor also always know all about the employee. So in this way, performance is evaluated by making total points given by the rater. The rater, who is the rater? Rater is the appraiser. He is the human resources manager or the immediate manager or supervisor of the employee. He just take that printed form, he just write the points for individual habits or traits of the employee. So this method is known as graphic rating scale. So this is the first method under trait method. Here the responsibility lies with the appraiser, and appraiser can be anyone. That can be immediate employer or immediate manager or human resources manager. He just used printed form for rating the employee's performance. That was the first method. Next, this is a ranking method. This is ranking method. Under this method, again an appraiser. Whenever appraiser word is written, keep in mind few things. Appraiser can be human resources manager. He can be immediate employer. He can be your immediate manager or anyone superior than you. Okay. So under this method, appraiser first finds the employee with the highest performance and ranks them the first. Suppose there are 10 employees. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there is appraiser A or manager A. He shall find whoever was the best performer and he shall rank him first. Suppose 6 was the very good performance, and the appraiser shall rate him the first, and after that then he finds the employee with the lowest performance. Then he shall try to find who had the lowest performer. So maybe the third one was the lowest performer. Then he shall rank him the last one. Okay. 10th in our case. Okay. He's the first one. He's the 10th one. In the same way, then with the remaining employee, he do the same thing until all employees are completed. Again, he does who was the better, then again who was the worst, again who was the better, who was the worst. Like then fifth comes to the second. As per his opinion, he shall rank him second one. Okay. Then suppose eighth comes at his opinion the lowest performer after third, then he shall rank him ninth. So in this way, first person is chosen to be at high performance rank and second at lowest performance rank. Then again the next one, second highest performer, then second lowest performer, then again third highest performer, then third lowest performer. In the same way, the ranker or the appraiser or the manager ranks all the employees, and this is the second method by which the appraisal of the employees are done. The first was graphic rating, second ranking method. The third one is paired comparison method. In this first, what happens, suppose there are 5 employees only, A, B, C, D, E. Okay. First, what happens? Under this method, first employee is compared with all employees and evaluation is done. So A shall be compared with B, then C, then D, then E. Okay. After that, then B will be compared with A, with D, B will be compared with C, then D with E. Then C will be compared with D, then E. Then D will be compared with E. This is known as paired comparison method. Okay. So then the next employee is compared with all except first. Then third employee is compared with all except first and second, and processes goes on until each employee is compared with each other. Okay. So in this way, the rater or the appraiser appraise or evaluate the performance on the basis of a comparison between employees. I hope you would have got the idea. Okay. Like again, I'm telling you with taking the example of only 3 employees. First of all, A shall be compared with B, and then A shall again be compared with C. Then B will be compared with C. So in this way, paired comparison system happens. So that was the third method of making performance appraisal. The fourth one is forced distribution method. This distribution method, it's known, the word distribution is written because you have to conform to the values and the level of normal frequency distribution. This is like that. Normal distribution frequency we have studied a lot of times now. Okay. So this method just tells that don't appraise all the employees very high, don't appraise all the employees very low. You have to make their categories. Like 10% employees should fall in excellent category, 20% in good category, 40% in average category, 20% in below average category, and 10% unsatisfactory. If there are 10 employees in total, then you have to evaluate them in a way that they should fall in these 5 categories. So this is the method known as forced distribution method. And for ranking purpose, evaluation purpose, you can use any other method, but the only thing under this method is you have to place the employees, all the employees in these 5 broad categories. This is known as forced distribution method. That was the fourth one to understand. The fifth one is checklist method. Nothing has been written here because checklist method has its own types. So that's why now we shall move one by one the types of checklist method. This is a simple checklist method. What happens here? A checklist is prepared. What is a checklist? Checklist is just a printed page or printed paper in which some questions are written regarding the habits or traits, and a rectangular box is just appended after each and every question just to tick on that, like whether the first question, whether the employee is always on time or not. Then if he is on time, then the rater shall tick that. Okay, so in this way the printed page is prepared, which is known as a checklist. A checklist is prepared, consists of large number of statement concerning employee behavior. Okay, then what happens? Rater checks to indicate if the behavior of employee is positive or negative to each statement. Then the evaluation is done on the basis of positive checks only, like he is on time, he is punctual, he performs his duty well, he goes at time, he is able to produce more. If these kind of statements are checked, then these checks shall be evaluated and his overall evaluation shall be made. So that was the simple checklist method. Then there is a weighted checklist method. This is not different from simple checklist. The only thing is that each and every statement is given a different weight. Like maybe the question 1 is assigned the weight of 5, question 2nd is assigned the weight of 15, question 3rd is assigned the weight of 25. Only the weights are assigned and cumulative assessment is done. So again, under this method, checklist is prepared consisting a large number of statements about employee behavior. Each statement has a defined rating and weightage. Rating can be like that, and weights are kept secret by personnel department, that and this is their duty and very easy to understand and go through. So that was weighted checklist method. Now after that, what happens when these are assigned? After that, the rater or the supervisor is asked to select a statement exactly matching to the behavior of employee. This is again done by marking the ticks on the different statements. After that, the appraisal is done by multiplying the weightage of the individual question with the ratings and weights assigned. So in this way, the employee is appraised or evaluated eventually. So this is the way to find the appraisal or evaluation of the employee under weighted checklist method. So I think 5 points we have understood. Now the next one is going to be regarding forced choice method. So what is this method? Okay, so that was popular during World War II. Okay, under this, large number of statements are prepared and these are prepared in groups. Now statements are, for suppose there are 10 statements, these shall be prepared in 2 groups. Okay, 2 groups, like 5 in one group, 5 in second group. Why groups? The only reason, first group should contain the favorably descriptive statements like positive points only, and the next group shall contain unfavorably descriptive statements. These will be negative points only. And the specific weightage like 0, 1, 2, 3, like was in the previous method, weightage shall be given to all the statements and evaluation shall be done in a way. If there are 5 statements, then one shall be neutral. Then appraiser is asked one statement each from favorable and unfavorable description. Okay, he will be asked one question shall be positive, one will be negative. Then on the basis of the answers given by the appraiser and multiplying these answers by the weights assigned, the final evaluation of the employee shall be done. So this is the method known as forced choice method. Only thing to remember is that all the statements are differentiated or grouped in two different groups. First is favorably descriptive, second is unfavorably descriptive. So that was forced choice method. uh, the next one is essay or free form type appraisal. What happens in this, like I am your employer and you are my employee. Okay, if I am going to appraise regarding you, what I shall do, I shall write an essay on you. This is not a free form method, none kind of basic evaluation, none kind of basic criteria. I just go on writing a descriptive essay of 3 or 5 pages on you, or it can be anything, or it can be as per the suitability or the demand of the management. Its length can be any. Under this method, the manager is required to write an essay describing each employee's performance during rating period. So he just write an essay regarding the employee's performance, and finally the human resources management department gets to know after the performance of all the employee by reading all the essays written by the appraiser. So that was the very simple and easy method. The next one is a group appraisal. Here the appraisal is not done by only the manager or the appraiser. The appraisal is done by immediate supervisor, then other supervisors, then managers, then head of department and consultants. But remember, this is not 360-degree appraisal. Okay, this is just a group appraisal. The only difference is in kind of a group appraisal, the appraisal is done by only your superiors and not juniors. So under this method, employee is appraised by group of appraiser, and that group is consisted of these people. I have already told you all the information right now. So that was regarding group appraisal. Then that was just more detail about that. Then there are confidential reports. Again, this is a kind of essay method, but there is some difference. This is the most traditional method. Under this method, the superior or your boss appraises the performance of subordinate based on their observation, and they keeps his judgment and report confidential. They don't tell the employee that I have to report regarding your performance. They keep everything confidential. They just prepare a file of their judgment and they just submit their file to human resources department for the further evaluation, and that is known as confidential report. This is not revealed to the subordinate but sent to the personnel department. Supreme Court of India ordered the employers to provide a complete confidential report to employees concerned in its judgment awarded in May 2008. So from 2008, the Supreme Court has given the order that if the employee is asking you, you can show them the report regarding the employee concern. So these were regarding confidential report. I told you that there are some bases on basis of which we can differentiate between the methods of performance appraisal. So first was a trait-based method of performance appraisal. Now these are behavioral method only. How do you behave in a specific situation? On the basis of your behavior or shown behavior, there can be some method of performance appraisal, and these are going to be one by one right now. The first one is behavioral checklist method. Again, checklist is there. Checklist is, again, I have already explained you. There are number of statements. Each statement is adjacent with a blank box at which the tick mark is to be done by the immediate supervisor or the manager. And all these statements do not necessarily be relating to traits. These are related to behavior of the employer regarding a specific task or a duty or performance. So a checklist is prepared with a list of many statements which describe the behavior essential for employees' performance. Then performance is evaluated in the same way that it was evaluated under checklist method. Employees' performance is evaluated on basis of behavioral skills that he possesses to the total statements. Then the next one is critical incidents method. Now you know that organizations are large. Okay, it's not possible to record each and every behavior. So this is why in each job some critical incidents are found. Like for performing job A, there are only 5 critical points. So on that critical points, how do an employee behave? That behavior is recorded by the manager, and on the basis of that recorded behavior his performance is appraised. So this is a continuous rating method for performance appraisal. The supervisor know there are some critical incidents in the job. He makes the list of these incidents and record behavior of employee. Then the rates are done on the basis of notes taken by the manager. So that was all about the critical incident method. Now BARS is very important. BARS is behaviorally anchored rating scales. So this is an extension of a critical incident method of a performance appraisal. What happens here? Here, the steps are followed for appraising the behavior of the employee, and this checklist is a weighted checklist. So this combines the method of a traditional rating scale as well as checklist incident methods. Okay, rating scale was the first one which I taught you in this lecture. Critical incident method I have taught you just now. You can see in this slide. Okay, when you club these two, that becomes BARS. Usually weighted checklist method is adopted along with the critical incident method. Here are the following steps for BARS. The first is you collect the critical incidents. Then you identify the performance dimensions. You just reclassify the incidents because maybe there have to be made some changes. Then you just assign value to all the incidents, like 5 to 1 first statement, 10 to the second statement, 15 to the third statement, and so on. And performance is evaluated after marking the ticks and multiplying the values assigned with the weighted assigns. So in this way, the evaluation is done on the basis of behaviorally anchored rating scales. And the next one is behavior observation skills, BOS. This is also a famous one. Okay, what happens here? The appraiser measures how frequently each behavior has been observed. Okay, so employee A is performing a job. Suppose he is behaving in a specific way for number of times. He is just putting his hands up and doing something for 10 or 20 times a day. These kind of things are recorded by the employer or by the appraiser, and feedback is given to the appraisee continuously that you are performing that kind of behavior. Either you have to change or you have to amend it. So that was regarding behavior BOS. Now assessment center, that we have already understood under training methods. Separate assessment centers are prepared. Method was famous in Germany, 1930. Okay, what happens here? Outside the organization, the different assessment centers are made, and the employees are brought together, and they spend 2 or 3 days in that separate centers, and their performance is evaluated on the basis of different criterias which we have already understood in the previous slides. So that was the concept of assessment center. Then the next is a psychological appraiser. This is the appraiser done in-depth interviews with the employees. There is an employer or appraiser or human resources manager or anything can be, and there is an employee. This person takes in-depth interview of this so that they can know about the psychological state of that specific employee. How it happens? In-depth interviews are taken, psychological tests are taken, consultations are taken, discussions are taken, discussion with superiors are taken. So in this way, complete psychological appraisal of the employee is done by the management. Then there are some other methods, okay, on the basis of result method. First, we did the method of performance appraisal on the basis of traits. Second, we did the methods on the basis of behavior. Finally, these are on the basis of results obtained by them. That's very easy to understand. First is productivity measures. It is seen that whether the employee has produced much more output than the previous year, and if he has produced much productivity in this year, then he is considered to be an efficient employee, and on the basis of that his performance is evaluated. The next one is balance scorecard that was developed by Robert Kaplan and David Norton. You have to read and understand and remember this. So in this way, on the basis of 4 aspects, the employee's performance is evaluated. First is financial aspect, then customer aspect, then processes aspect, and learning aspect. Employees can be evaluated by making emphasis on their learning, what they have adopted, what they have contributed to all these 4 aspects in the context of organization. On the basis of these 4 parts are known as collectively the balance scorecard. So that is to be gone through and understand. So I think this is the last one now. This is the concept of 360-degree appraisal. Very easy, very conceptual, and very important to understand. When the appraisal is done by anyone in the organization, anyone, whether he is your senior, whether he is your junior, whether he is holding any kind of a position in the organization, if he is appraising you, that is the concept of 360-degree appraisal. Under this kind of appraisal, the appraiser can be any person who has knowledge about job content to be appraised, standards of content, who observes the employee. Appraiser can be anyone, like they can be your superiors, they can be peers, they can be subordinate, they can be self-appraisal, users of services, your customers, your consultants, any other person who know you directly or indirectly. This is why it is known as 360-degree appraisal. Like this circle, each and everyone surrounding you can appraise you in one or other way. So this is the most important and the conceptual method for this specific thing. I hope you would have understood this concept pretty much. I taught you regarding what is a performance appraisal and what are different methods regarding that. We have studied regarding broad heads on the basis of which the discrimination can be made between the methods of performance appraisal. The first was on the basis of a trait methods. Then we did about the methods on the basis of behavior methods. Then I taught you regarding methods on the basis of result method, and finally we did regarding the 360-degree appraisal. So it was the complete detail regarding what you have to understand and go through from this specific lecture. And I hope that you would have liked this pretty much, and that is very important to understand. And most importantly, now what I have to announce you is that we have already taken 3 lectures by now, but the thing is not done, because we have to differentiate and we have to make the system in a way so that we teach you everything as well as you understand everything, as well as there is none kind of burden to us. So just to save time tomorrow, we have already saved the time for paper 1. I'm just going to announce you only 1 lecture is left right now. I know that already 2 hours are, it's more than 2 hours by now. I am teaching you and you are listening to me completely. Only 1 lecture is left, and that shall be taken at exactly 8 p.m. And that shall be regarding the industrial dispute next part, and that shall be regarding trade union. In case you are busy or you don't have time, you have any kind of work, you can go there. We have to take lecture. We shall deliver you it as usual. So we have to complete this. The only reason, if we don't complete it right now, it shall burdenize in the coming days, because we have to move toward mathematics, reasoning, number of things, and the economics as well. because my purpose is to teach each and every concept which is necessary for qualifying this examination. So just meeting you after 10 minutes from now onwards at 8 p.m. In case you are busy, you may go. Thank you so much for joining me in this lecture. This is Gurpal Singh from Gursul Education.